Well, good morning, fellow diamond painters. Steepy Crazy Lady, back again. It is 8:18 a.m. It is the 29th. It's Wednesday, I believe. Yep, Wednesday, May 2024. I have a few things I want to talk about, important to me, but, and like some of you have made mention of, is that, it's my daily life, or it's, I think it's boring, but it's things that happen in my life, and that's the way it goes. I've probably repeated this, before I get into that, sorry. This is a Randal Spangler that I'm working on. I figure, in case there's anybody new. It's Curl Up with a Good Book by Randal Spangler, Diamond Art. It's a square, 27.6 by 27.6 inches, or 70 by 70 centimeters. There are 55 colors, and there is one AB. So I think I got that out of the way. And I still forgot to put the start date on it. I've got to put that on there. So if today is the 29th, I started it on the 27th. Let me mark that on there right now so I do not forget. So we had May 27, 2024. There we go. Now, because if I don't mark it right now, I will forget. So, daughter is feeling a bit better. TMI, maybe gross. She noticed after all the swelling had went down, well, not all of it, her she's still a little puffy, but after part of her swelling, oops, hold on, a tray fell and it knocked my light out, so I'm going to pause you and I will be right back. Okay, sorry, technical difficulties. It happens. It grabbed my light, my cord, and it's only so long, and off it went. So, anyway, when my daughter noticed, when most of the swelling had started going down, right in the area of her upper gum area, where the dentist had given her 2 shots, to numb the area before he did the root canal, she had a couple large bumps. And I told her, I said, well, maybe it's just a swelling, and that'll, dissipate, and as you keep taking the pain or the antibiotics or whatever. And I guess last night she was, how, you get a bad tooth or a sore in your mouth or something, your tongue seems to wander, and right there, it never, for some reason, it just won't stay away from whatever is sore in your mouth. And she said her tongue, she was rubbing on it a little bit with her tongue, and all of a sudden, and like I said, TMI, it popped. The one larger swelling. And yes, it was filled with, I won't say the word, but yeah. And she come running in here, and she's, trying to rinse her mouth and, get salt water and everything. So she kept doing that. And then she kept trying to stick tissue or something, there so it would absorb the contents. And I told her, I said, well, I think I have some gauze pads. from when I had my cancer surgery, and it's been a while, but you don't let go of some things. So I cut them up in smaller squares, and gave those to her, and she kept those in her mouth off and on through the night, and she said, no, it's not leaking as much, and but I told her, I said, keep rinsing your mouth with salt water, because she called the dentist yesterday, and all they said was they were going to mark it, let the dentist know, and they'd get back with her or whatever. Well, they never did, so she's going to be calling them this morning. See, I thought calling them at 9 o'clock yesterday. Well, their office doesn't open until 10, so she's going to call them this morning and find out what the heck, she's supposed to do, or, do they want to see her, what? Because this had to have been his fault, because you don't work on a tooth or root canal or anything like that if you suspect or see that there is an infection or something in the tooth or in the gum line. And so, with him doing that, it just spread everywhere, apparently. So, that's, one issue that we're going to deal with. It really ticks me off. And that's why he said medical professions and stuff sometimes, I'm not saying they're not good, they are. But you get some that are either rushed, or maybe it's time for them to retire and they don't want to retire, and so on and so forth. And they just keep doing what they're doing, and hoping they get over it or get through it, whatever. So, okay, the next thing on the agenda that I am hurt and upset about is I called my mom yesterday, and then she finally gave me a call back later in the evening, because she said she wanted to wait till stepdad went to sleep, because he really didn't want to hear more of the garbage, because I guess my mom has talked about it, that she's really upset and hurt and everything. And okay, now I'll repeat this again. My mother just turned 90. My stepfather is 102. He'll either be 102 or he turned 102. Anyway, they, in the state that they live in, they've got, programs for senior citizens, and, they'll help maintain your home and blah, 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 and, approve you for discounts on this, that, and the other thing. Okay, my mom, first off, keeps an immaculate home. I know there has never been a time that I have just walked into my mother's house or went to visit and ever seen it messy, dirty, cluttered, nothing. My mother is she's not a fanatic, but she's a stickler for maintaining what she has. Depression era, that type of thing. You hang on to what you got, because you may not be able to get it again. My mother has items, even pieces of furniture in her home, even small knickknacks, different things that she's had for, 50 years or more. And you'd swear they're brand new. That's how well kept. Anytime us kids, when we, started our own home and, moved out and everything else, if there was a piece of furniture we needed, or, an extra something, whatever it was, my mother would have it. It's there. You just take it and go, So, she helped supply us all with odds and ends and different things we needed, and they were in perfect and excellent working condition, So anyhow, they, after all these years, my stepdad was, he was in World War II, and the Veterans Affairs decided, oh, well, now all of a sudden, when you turn 100 or 101, we're going to come out and start helping you, which they should have been doing all along. Well, they finally went ahead and put in one of those stair lift chairs. So when they go up and down the stairs to the basement where her laundry room is and everything, that she can just sit in the chair and, up and down on it, which, like I said, that should have been put in there probably 20 some years ago, and you couldn't get anything done with the government, or the veterans. But anyhow, they ended up, they did that. They gave her a brand new upright freezer, because the one she had for, I know it was at least 45 years. 40 to 45 years, because it was the one that had, well, let me go this way. I'm 72, and I remember that freezer being in our basement at the other home we lived in when I was 14. So that's how long she had that upright freezer, and it still worked. It wasn't frost-free, but it still worked, an upright, freezer with shelves and everything. And they said, well, that's kind of old, and we'll give you a brand new one. It'll be it'll be frost-free, and it'll cut down on your electric bill, blah, blah, blah. So they gave her a new one of those. They gave her a new water softener tank, to replace it, because the other one was getting old. And they did a few other things, put in windows, all that kind of good garbage. Well, I talked to her last night, and she is very, very upset, because they sent someone out. They sent someone out to do an evaluation, or whatever they call it, to see if there's anything else they can do or repair or whatever to approve you for a lower electric bill, and I don't understand the whole business of it. But anyhow, she was talking to the lady on the phone before they came out, and my mom said that the only thing that my mom felt that would be beneficial if they approved something like that would be insulation, which would be the insulation in her attic. She has more of a flatter roof on her house, and a very small crawl space, which she calls an attic. You can't store anything up there, but it's, an attic. And she said that having insulation blown up in there would really help, to keep her heat from going through the roof. And they said, oh yeah, we'll send someone out to look, and blah, blah, blah. Well, they came out. The guy wasn't even up in that thing. Well, they told my mom, when they looked up there, they said, well, it would be kind of expensive to roll insulation up there. And Mom said, well, I'm not talking about rolling, I'm talking about blowing, blown insulation. And he said, well, yeah, that might, Well, he was only up there for, like Mom said, maybe 5-10 minutes looking, or whatever. And he told her later on, after this other argument happened, or other slight discussion happened, that he said, oh, I insulated up there, and blah, 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 blah. My mom said, no, you didn't. She said, you weren't up there more than 5 or 10 minutes. What did you do? And I guess he did like one small little section that he showed her a picture of, where he did a little caulking around a little outlet or something, or whatever it was. And Mom said, that's what you did? And you say you insulated my attic? And he just, kind of argued with her and whatever. And so the other thing that they did, oh, I put that in the wrong color. Oops. Wait a minute. Let me see. Okay, that goes there. That does not go there. See, talking and trying to diamond paint at the same time. So anyhow, they came in. The first thing they did after that was a little later on the agenda, but it's the part I remember real quick. But they came in and they took all her light bulbs out of her house, all of them, and replaced them with, I guess, what they call energy efficient light bulbs, whatever. Like that would lower your electric bill, blah, blah, blah. And Mom was upset because they took them with them when they left. They didn't just leave them for her because she said, well, geez, why didn't you leave them here? I could have given them to my kids or reused them or something if I happened to need them. You just stole them right out of the house. And then the other thing they did, they put a new shower head or something in their shower stall in their bathroom. And Mom said she liked the other one better because they put aerators in, so it like uses less water, but you think you're getting a lot, Anyway, they did that. And they did it in, my mom has the double sinks in her bathroom, and then her shower is off of that. And then there's another door in the bathroom where that's the tub and the toilet. So my stepdad went in there after they had left, and he was in there getting ready to, wash his face and everything and take a quick shower before he went to bed. And he come out and he goes, hey, honey, he said, there's water splashing everywhere in here. And she said, what? And he said, yeah, he said, there's water everywhere in here. Where's this coming from? And Mom went in there, and I guess my stepdad reached under the sink. There's water just spewing out from under the pipes, under the sink from the pipes, just coming all over the place. And he managed to, get it turned off. And my mom, legs are pretty bad, and her knees are really bad. She had a heck of a time trying to get down on her hands and knees to get a box to start pulling the stuff out from under the sink, because she has all her stuff in there, the toilet paper and paper, her toothpaste and, other odds and ends, medications, different stuff like that. Plus she has a linen closet, but she keeps, extra stuff under there. And she, trying to get all that out of there and put it in the bathtub so that it's out of the way, as water's everywhere. And so they managed to get that off, and they turned the water off, and I guess she called them the next morning, and they come out, and it's, well, what's going on, and all this other stuff. And they told they said, okay, I don't understand what's going on here. Mom said, well, if you keep trying to replace older stuff in my home with your newer stuff, like metric on regular, no, it's not going to work. And you're putting plastic on metal, and it's going to give, and blah blah blah. And the guy just kept kind of looking at her funny and stuff, and he tried to fix it. He said he couldn't do it right then and there or something, whatever it was. And it still would keep leaking after he left. Well, my stepdad, like I said, 102 years old, spent I don't know how many hours after they had left toward the evening. He went in there. Now my stepdad's not a plumber, but he's a Mr. Fix-It. He used to fix his own semis when he'd drive them, and old steel hauler. He did all that stuff himself. Never took anything to be repaired. Anything around my mom's house, any kind of equipment, anything, he's done it all. And so he got under there and he's working on it, and then, this part won't fit, so he had to run again in his truck, go get the part, come back, do it again. He spent, Mom said, until after midnight, night before last, till after midnight, trying to get the parts to work under there from what the other idiots did to destroy it. And he finally said, "That's it." He said, "I'm done." He said, "When they show up tomorrow," he said, somebody's got to deal with them because it's wrong." Yeah, he said, "I don't know what they did, but nothing is fitting. I can't even get the right part." So when they finally came back, they were doing something, I don't know what it was, something under there or whatever. And my mom said, "What the hell are you doing?" And the guy said, "Well, I got to get this other part. I'm thinking this won't work or that won't work." And Mom tried to explain something to them because my mother's father and mother, when they were alive, they built houses. My mom used to help them. They built homes. They knew how to do those things then, And yes, material has changed, but not common sense on how to build certain things. And my mom said, "Well, no, you're not doing that right. That's supposed to, whatever," she said to him. And he said, and she said, "Don't you, know that you do that?" He goes, "Well, I'm not a plumber." And she said, "And that's the problem." She said, "Why is the government sending you out here if you don't know how to do certain things? If you don't know anything about plumbing, why are you doing plumbing?" And so I guess eventually they got that straightened around. That wasn't the worst part of it. My mother has a crawl space in her basement. And I have never seen a crawl space so clean that you could live in that crawl space. There's carpeting. Her crawl space is not dirt. Her crawl space is concrete. Now, she's in a one-level ranch home, with a basement, but her crawl space where she stores, Christmas stuff or, whatever you store in your, crawl space area and such, but hers has carpeting. It was never wet, never damp, nothing, because there's air vents around the edges. There's heating that runs through there to protect the water pipes and stuff from freezing in the winter, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, they told my mom they were going to do some insulating. Well, she figured, okay, that's rolled insulation, whatever you're going to put and stuff. They put this white stuff up that is considered, it's not insulation. And my mom, when she seen it, she knew it wasn't insulation. It was waterproofing stuff, that plastic, that it's an insulator. And Mom said, so she started looking everything up. She talked to Lowe's, she talked to Home Depot, told them the names on the product, everything else. I guess, "Oh no, that's not insulation. That's a waterproofing, to, and what it ended up doing, the way they glued it up there and everything, it hid all her wires. It blocked off all her vents. I know you all aren't probably interested in any of this, but this is what's really been happening, and it's kind of bugging me because here my mother is, 90 years old, has a home that is in excellent condition and immaculate and everything else, and it's like they're destroying it for her, and it's killing her. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like almost taking advantage of the elderly, let's just placate them and hope they go away because they're only going to live so long, So they put this stuff in there, and my mom explained it to him, told him, "Hey, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that, blah, 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 blah." And she said, "I know what that stuff is." She said, you spread that around when you're first building a home. You put your, insulation, the waterproofing and stuff around, and then you put your insulation in and so on and so forth. Unless you're doing paneling, you put your waterproofing, you put your paneling. She said, you put that stuff up there when my sink was leaking. And she said, look, there's water. That holds the water between the ceiling of the crawl space and my floor above, which means it's going to rot the wood on my floor. And they're like, oh no, whatever their babble is, who knows. And my mom had to crawl into that crawl space, 90 years old, on her back. She had to wheel herself in there and take buckets in there and poke holes in that white plastic crap and drain the water out, the water that was being held in there. Now, my uncle, her brother, he jumped in her crap about climbing under there. He said, I'm coming out there. He said, I'm going to take all that crap down. And she says, she said, it's going to be hard to do, she said, because you don't know what wires they covered when they did it. You can't cut through that. And she said, now, so my mom still has a satellite dish, a big old satellite dish. And plus she has, all her wires run down there for the, I don't know if it's DirecTV too or something. And for them to, like, if she wants to move her TV from one side to another side or wherever, she knew exactly where her wires were, where she could move it. She could see them. She could feed them in, whatever. They covered everything. Everything. She can't see anything on her ceiling in the basement. I mean, it's covered and glued with this hard, tacky, whatever the heck they did. And it's like, it hurt her so bad. She said, all I want to do is have a decent home, that, whatever years I have left, I want to be able to have it worry-free, not have all this hassle and everything else. And I feel so bad because I can't do anything. I told her to call her state representative because when my stepdad turned 100, they brought 100 or 101. Last year they brought him to the state representative's house in their state they live in and celebrated him and all this stuff. And I told my mom, I said, you need to get a hold of her, that state representative of that area, and you need to start talking. I said, because the next step is either the state attorney general or the governor, or you go to the newspaper. I'm serious. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. That why is it you have a government program that probably millions of dollars get funneled into, and they can't even hire professionals. They hire kids off the street and, tell them, okay, you do this, whatever. They don't, if they're just R&R, then, remove and replace. Hey, I guess anybody could do that part. But if you have to diagnose something and say, okay, this is an older home, these are the type of things, if you want to modernize this home, you're going to have to do it from the ground up. You can't just slap a new piece on and say, oh, okay, this is going to work. It doesn't happen that way. The house was built in 65. I think it was about 65. So, I mean, there's been some modernization and here and there, but not anything major. And my mom's house looks beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful home. 2.25 acres she sits on. I mean, come on. It's like, I don't get it. I don't understand how a program like that, can get away with it. It's like, if you can't afford to hire professionals to do the jobs that you send them out to do, number one, then close the program down. Or number two, You keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to end up, I hate to say it, but you're going to kill someone. If these guys don't know what they're doing and they mess with the plumbing or electric work, any kind of those things, something's going to happen. And you begin to wonder how, I don't know. I'm getting almost as frustrated as my mom is. It's like me here. I bought all brand new windows for my mobile home. So instead of having, crank out windows, I have, just up and down like normal house type windows. I found someone to start putting the windows in several years ago, and they did it and then skipped out and took, some of my parts. I still have all my windows. I still have at least 6 to 10 windows left that need to be put in, and I can't find anybody to do it. No one. There is no government program out there for the elderly that live in a mobile home and that they will do any kind of repairs. None. Not in the state of Ohio that I've looked for. So, I need those windows put in so that I don't have to spend more on my gas bill every winter, so it ain't going out the window. And when I run my air conditioning, that I'm not cooling the great outdoors. It's like you can't, And at the time, I was willing to pay for those 10 windows at $25 a pop to put them in. That was $250. I had the money at that time. Couldn't find anybody that wanted to do it. No one. So it's like, okay, but you can't get any help. None whatsoever. I mean, that place that was supposedly going to help me with a hot water tank, of course, never materialized. But yeah, they did finally bring out a carbon monoxide monitor. It's still in a package. I have nowhere to plug it in at. I don't have enough plugs to plug the thing in where they said it needs to be plugged in at. There's no plug there. It should be, located near what you're trying to prevent, or smell what it needs to smell or whatever. I have nowhere to put it. So what good did it do for them to come all the way out here and bring me a carbon monoxide sensor? I can't plug it in. So, it's like I said, you can't, I've never asked for anything for free. And the same with my mother. I mean, my mother worked and worked at a factory, and, built harnesses for cars and did, battery inspections and so on and so forth. And she knew how to do her own electrical at her other house she had. Like I said, my stepdad is Mr. Fix-It. I don't think there's anything that he, well, now with his age, I don't want him doing that kind of stuff, but I don't think there's anything that man could not fix, invent, repair. It's at that age, it's from growing up with nothing, and you make do with either what you got or you invent something that works and you maintain it. And that's the one thing I have learned. I mean, that's like my brother, I said, well, when you come over to visit, don't do this or don't do that, or this piece of whatever is old, this is how you use it, or this is what. And, I got to get a complaint from him saying, oh, you sound just like Mom, you can't, you can't flop down on this, and you can't do. I said, that's because if you want to have it later, it'll be there. You don't mistreat what you got and expect it to still be there, 5-10 years from now, because what if you can't replace it? I had an ex that was like that all the time, that sit there and go, oh, I'll get another one. Well, if that one breaks, I just get another one. Yeah. And the same thing went with his own life. Oh, I'll stop drinking, or I'll stop this or whatever stuff, and I'll be fine, whatever stuff. And then that's, well, he's gone. Some things you just cannot replace. And, you need to learn to maintain what you have. I have a small 2-seater couch in my living room that I've had for, I don't know, 15, 18 years, and I can't afford to replace it. I have a chair in there that my stepmother, there was a twin set of them. It's a Queen Anne. It's a lazy boy. I know she had it when I was, oh my gosh, 18. Yeah, when I was like between 18 and 20. So 52 years she had it. I have it. And just as comfortable as it ever was. And it's got a high back. You pull the bar and the foot comes out. And it's a beautiful chair. It doesn't rock. It reclines, but it doesn't rock or anything. It's beautiful. And, it's either you bought good and, when you could afford it, and you took care of it. You maintained it. You didn't mistreat it. So, I guess I babbled enough about something that you guys probably would not even be interested in. But, it's, my day-to-day thingy. So, thought I'd give you, a report. As you see, I'm still working on just this section here. Taking my time, like I said, little at a time. That way I don't really have to start anything else. I did notice that GBFKE, it did get shipped. And as of yesterday, it was in New York. So, it may end up being here. Oh gosh, excuse me. I had breakfast, because I'd been up since about 5. But I had breakfast about a half hour or so before I came on here, and I think it's repeating. I'm going to get me some more coffee, too. So it may end up showing up, depending on, the speed. It could be here by this coming weekend. So, who knows? So, and how is your day? I'm sorry. I don't usually like to tell, I'm not mentioning names or anything like that, so it's not like you know who I am, who my mother is, and where they live, and so on and so forth. So it's not like I'm telling real family business, but it's like, that's like I told my mom. I said, you can't change it, Mom. I understand you want things to be a certain way, and I agree with you. I said, but, if you can't take it day by day, take it hour by hour. And I said, they say life is too short to rush right through it, and the age you and Dad are, it's like, just, you're going to have to just let it go. There's nothing you can do. You can't, I mean, you can argue with them, you can talk to them and complain and tell them they messed up your house or they did this or did that, and make your phone calls. If that's what keeps you going and you're right, deal with them. If you exhaust all avenues and nobody wants to do anything, well, all you can say is I tried to correct it and they weren't doing it. And heck, you can complain to the news stations or the newspaper or whatever and deal with the consequences after that, because who knows, government, they always say you can't fight City Hall, but yeah, you can. You just, they forget to tell you, you can fight them, you just don't win. So, yeah, I'm going to get off here now and try to finish up this little section right up here. And maybe, have another cup of coffee and maybe go ahead and do one coaster. I'm not sure. It depends. I may keep doing this because I'm, want to get a little further over, but it's, a little at a time, I'm going to turn the light off. That way you can see it with the light off. I think it looks really pretty good. The only issue I'm having is I can't seem to keep the drill straight on the edge. They keep wanting to buckle, or squiggle. That's the only issue I'm having. Other than that, not bad. Not bad for a diamond art, I guess. So I love the colors. I can't wait to get to the purple. That's this is not really a purple. I can't wait to get to the purples over there. The 208, 209, 550, those. So, well, I'm going to get off here and, like I said, get me another cup of coffee. And hope you all enjoy, middle of the week. Have a good one. Hugs to you all. Been on here long enough, so DP Crazy Lady says I'm out.